Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today, we are looking at this. We are looking at He-Man and Masters of the Universe from the new Netflix series. And it's He-Man with his Ground Ripper. So, I'm excited to check this out. If you haven't watched it already, I reviewed a Skeletor with his motorcycle, which is known as the Paint Thor. And I loved that vehicle. I thought that vehicle was so much fun. And I expect nothing but more of the same with this. I picked this up recently at Walmart. I bought it for $19.99, I believe. And I couldn't turn away from it. I love action figures, and I love action figures even more when they come with a motorcycle. It's a tradition in the toy industry that they always make the superheroes with motorcycles. Wolverine's had his motorcycle. Spider-Man's seen his motorcycle. There's been Captain America, Batman, you name it. If it's a superhero, chances are the company made the figure with a motorcycle. And now it's He-Man's turn. So one of the things that you'll notice if you're an old and long-time He-Man fan is that this semi-resembles the classic Masters of the Universe vehicle known as the Road Ripper. And the Road Ripper is this. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull out my real toy. I do have the original toy in hand, but unfortunately it's sitting in the bottom of a box, and that box is sitting underneath a bunch of other boxes, so it's kind of inaccessible at the moment. But this was the original Road Ripper from back in the 80s. This was kind of like, you know, the Masters of the Universe go-to motorcycle. So the figure would sit down in here. You take this is the seatbelt, and pull it over. And over time, you know, if you're looking for this toy on the secondary market, always beware, because most of the time the seatbelt might be ripped or broken off. So this vehicle, it was called the Road Ripper because it actually used a ripcord, and you'd pull on it, and this thing would just like shoot off. It was a fun toy, still is, especially if you have one that still works. So you take this like ripcord, insert it into the vehicle, and then as soon as you pull it, it kind of like spins internal gears or does something, and then this thing just kind of like rockets away. It was a fun toy then. It's a fun toy now. And it's really cool that in this day and age, Mattel honors that vehicle with this kind of like homage to it with the Ground Ripper. It looks cool. It kind of retains that color scheme. But this is kind of a motorcycle for the here and now, and it looks nice. And on top of that, we get another version of He-Man. It's identical to the single-carded figure, but it's a repaint. So here is the back of the box. Some of the play features. It allows you can store the battle accessories. So He-Man's power sword could be stored on the vehicle. And much like the single release of He-Man, it comes with the power attack. So he has the spring-loaded torso. And the play features are there. And over here we have Skeletor with Paint Thor. Really, really cool. Highly recommended. Alright, so let's get started. Let's take this guy out. I am really excited to check this out. The Skeletor vehicle, it's really fun. I highly suggest you check out that video. Let's get this guy out. Come on. And don't forget the power sword. It's underneath this bubble. Make sure to get that out. Okay, so we have He-Man here, repaint. I gotta tell you, I love this repaint. This is a really cool repaint of the figure. And we have the Ground Ripper. Okay, so, alright, if you're an older collector, you're probably going to like scoff at these toys when you see them, you know. But remember, this is not for you. You know, this is aimed at an audience comprised of children ages 4 and up. Or if you're like me, an adult who's too old to be playing with toys. It's a bargain. I'll start off with that. You know, for $19.99, you're getting a $9 figure. And on top of that, you're getting this cool vehicle. So you're essentially paying almost $10 for each. The sculpting on this it's nice. It clearly looks like a budget toy. But you know, for what it is, I think it's superb. It could do with more paint detail, but if you're a modeler or a customizer, you can easily do that yourself. But you know, for me, I'm happy with the way it is. You know, it's very bare minimum. It fits with the aesthetic of the rest of the toys. The profile is really nice. You know, the color scheme retains that of the Road Ripper. You know, with that green, the yellow. Nice profile. It's small. Here's a front view of it. You know, here you can see the talons. It's kind of like a beak, the eyes. And just like Skeletor's motorcycle, the handlebars are adjustable. So you can adjust it according to your figure. There's storage here, so you can easily slot He-Man's sword here. Like so. Really cool. Really excited. Yeah, it's great. Unfortunately, this doesn't have the same play feature as the original Road Ripper. Like I said before, the Road Ripper, it had that cool gimmick where you put in the ripcord, pull it, and the thing would shoot off. You know, this thing just rolls. It doesn't really do much beyond just rolling, but that's alright. I can live with that. But man, I gotta tell you right now, I like this He-Man repaint. So the Skeletor repaint, it was weird because it almost looked like a completely different character. But this He-Man, with this color scheme, I think it's perfect. In many ways, I do prefer this repaint over the mainline figure. And let me grab the mainline figure real quick. Alright, so let's set this aside. Alright, so this is He-Man that comes with the motorcycle. And here's He-Man as we see him in the cartoon. This is the mainline single release of the figure. Alright, so why do I like this, or why do I prefer this He-Man over this one? Alright, so I was a kid growing up in the 80s. I was probably about 6 years old when Masters of the Universe first came out. And when I saw this He-Man at the store on the motorcycle, as much as I loved the motorcycle and I knew I wanted to buy it, I was immediately drawn to this color scheme. I love the color scheme of this because it reminds me so much of the original He-Man. So, you know, this color scheme here, it really echoes this figure. You know, the original He-Man, even though they didn't paint him, you know, this one here, they did. He has the orange bracers, He has that brown fur bikini, and this one, he has the brown pants and the brown uniform. The color scheme of the harness is very similar. You know, so for me, I like this a lot because it feels like a much more science fiction modern rendition of this guy. And I like how they kind of kept it within the same, you know, color family, and it just feels more. It feels right to me, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with this. I do think this is great, but you know, if I didn't watch the cartoon, and if you told me to choose one of these figures, I'd easily go with this one, just because this one has more of the earth tones and the natural colors that this guy has. But that's not to take anything away from this guy. This is an awesome action figure. I love it. And I'm noticing, I think... Alright, so... the figures are actually different. I got to double check with Skeletor. Because I think Skeletor's figure... Let me grab it. Alright, here's Skeletor. Okay, so I was under the assumption that these two figures are identical. They're not. And I'll get into that in a second. So Skeletor, this is the Skeletor that came with the motorcycle, Paint Thor, and this is the single carded release of Skeletor. To the best of my knowledge, with the exception of the color scheme, they're essentially the same figure, the same molds all around. One thing I noticed different with these, I thought these were identical. But then I was looking at the feet, and I think this one might have a... Alright, I stand corrected, I was wrong. Alright, for a second, I wanted to say I thought this one had a different stance. It might, though. I could be wrong on that. Oh, this way, let me double check. Okay, yeah, so my initial thoughts were correct. These are actually different figures. For the most part, everything's identical except for the legs. The legs, if you notice, the boots are actually, they have a different stance. As you can see here. This one has the feet are actually drawn in closer to each other. Whereas on this figure, the feet are actually pointing outward. If you could take a look at the toes. So if you look at the toes here they're closer, whereas these, they're actually pointing outward, which makes sense because they have to fit on the motorcycle. So yeah, they're actually different feet. I hope I'm not being crazy because I really do think they're different. Yeah, they're slightly outward more than these. So this guy has a wider stance. I think. Yeah, it does. All right, I'm not being nuts. I think I'm right on that. Yeah, alright, I might be wrong, but I really think that this has different legs than this one does. Now, the reason why Skeletor doesn't have that is because Skeletor's feet are actually articulated. So he can move his ankles to accommodate the bike either way. See? But He-Man does not have ankle articulation. So they're actually different figures. Slightly different figures. But yeah, I do prefer this color scheme over this one, just because this one reminds me so much of like OG He-Man. Let's get him on the bike again. And it's cool how you can adjust the handlebars. There you go. Look at that. That looks great. I am loving this. It's awesome. I'm so glad that I got this toy. It's such a cool vehicle. And if you're wondering, yes, I think this will accommodate Origins He-Man. So if you wanted to, you could easily give He-Man or like Man-at-Arms or an Eternian Guard this bike as their vehicle. So if He-Man's tired of riding Battle Cat and he just wants to drive around Eternia looking smooth, you know, you can give him the bike. Now, how could you say no to that? Look at that. That looks so badass. You know, if you have like Marvel Legends Captain America with his motorcycle, and Black Widow with his motorcycle, and Ghost Rider with his motorcycle, and Wolverine with his motorcycle, you can kind of form your own motorcycle gang with like He-Man and Skeletor, and they can go all out and party, you know, raise hell, get in trouble with the local law. Yeah, this is fun. Alright, so do you need this in your collection? Yes. I'm going to say yes either way. If you hate the new cartoon, you still need this. I think it's a great vehicle for your Origins figures. And we need smaller vehicles too. I mean, we've gotten the Wind Raider, we've gotten the Sky Sled, we've gotten the 2 Steeds. So it's nice, you know, get a couple of these and, you know, you have more vehicles. It's awesome accessory. I love this repaint of He-Man. It's beautiful. So yeah, I do highly recommend these toys. You know, do yourself a favor. If you see them in the stores, just buy it. Buy it, and you won't regret it. And if you don't like it, just send it to me. I'll have it. I like it that much. All right, so wrapping up this video. Once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you're new to my channel, welcome. You know, I love hearing from new viewers. And if you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. You know, I appreciate all the comments and likes that you give me. You know, even though I don't get a whole lot of views, every now and then I might get one comment during the day, and it'll like make my day or afternoon. So I do enjoy engaging with many of you. But every now and then I get the weird oddball comments, and sometimes I can't decipher what someone's saying. But for those of you who do make sense, I love you. So once again, thanks for checking this out. And until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most of all, be happy. All right, I'll talk to you soon.